Hello, my name is Zach Advanced Sliders with Old Man Gaming, and welcome to another Borderlands 3 build video by Philbilly330, the build master himself. He's back after a little hiatus due to level cap grinding needs, but he has put together a real interesting Flak build today. As per se usual, I will be doing my best to timestamp this video for ease of access should you need to come back and reference something on the fly. What you're watching on the screen right now is a demonstration of the build in action, and then of course there will be, as usual, another one towards the end of the video. If you like this build video, I urge you to check out all of Philbilly330's build videos. They're all here. I've also put together a nice little playlist for you guys, should you want to see them all at once. And then, as usual, our thanks go out to Philbilly330 for putting this on the channel and making us our home for his incredibly interesting and very cool builds. And if you want to see Philbilly just play and just hang out with me while we play Borderlands 3, check out Borderlands 330 every Wednesday where we just play Borderlands 3 together. But with that, I have talked enough. I will let the Build Master General get to it himself. Take it away, Philbilly.
Yo, what's up, old man fam? Philbilly330 here with another build for you. This is what I call the T-800 Flak build because it uses some old tech guns and some new tech guns. And what's pretty exciting about this build for me is that for me being a Flak main, I've never really messed around with the Rakk attack too much, and I'm enjoying it pretty much, and we'll get into why I went that route on this build. So let's go in here right now and respec. Okay, and then we'll build it out together, guys. Again, real quick, if you guys enjoy this stuff, please leave a like and subscribe to Old Man Gaming. We appreciate all your guys' support. So we're going to go in here. We're actually going to use mainly the Hunter tree and the Master tree for this build. So we're going to go and start with our damage. We're going to pick up our Rakk attack. We're going to go 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker for the stacks of damage. We're going to go 3 points into Leave No Trace. That's going to get us some ammo back on crits. We're going to go over here into head count. This is just going to help us get our Rakk attack back even faster than it already reproduces, which is pretty cool. We're going to go 5 points here into Two Fang, and we'll go over why we're choosing this when we get into our gun loadout. But we're going to go 5 points into here, which is going to give us a well, with our class mod, we'll have a 45% chance to proc an extra projectile, and that's really what makes this build do the damage that it does. The only thing that I'm not the biggest fan of about Two Fang is you are left up to RNG to an extent because it's a percentage chance, but where you figure in reality, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, you're getting essentially 45% damage boost. We're going to go 3 points into Big Game. It's going to increase our skill duration and our hunter skill effects. We're going to go 3 points into the Most Dangerous Game, which is going to give us gun damage, crit damage, handling, all the good stuff. And what's cool about this skill is, if you guys didn't notice on my other builds, I always take it because it lasts for, 90 seconds, I believe? No, might even be longer than 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. So you can carry this skill from one area to another, which is really nice if you have a break in the action between two points. You can go in with some kind of buff still existent. We're going to go and grab Galactic Shadow, one of the better skills Flak has that only costs 1 point. It's going to increase our critical hit damage, and our goal in this build, as my norm with Flak, is to get down to Megavore, because I just think it's one of the I think it's his best capstone. So we're gonna dump 3 points into Grim Harvest. 2 points into Grim Harvest, I'm sorry, which will allow us to get down here to Megavore. So with the 2 points into Grim Harvest, it's going to give us another 6% gun damage and action skill damage. So our Rakks will be doing a little more work as well. And then we're going to pick up our Megavore to give us that 20% critical hit chance. You guys should have saw a demo when Zach did the opening on this video, so you got to see a little bit of the Slaughter Shaft run. This build does some really crazy things, especially with the new gun, and I'm sure it's no secret to you guys that I'd say our main source of damage for this build is going to be out of the Wedding Invitation sniper rifle. But on our augments, on our Rakk attacks, we're going to go over here and we're going to take Falconer's Feast. That's going to give us some more survivability, because every time we throw those Rakks out, which we'll be spamming them quite frequently in order to proc our action skill and anointments, by throwing these out, we're going to get some health back. And then we will also take Accelerate, which is going to make the cooldown rate faster for the Rakks that we throw out, and it'll give us an extra charge to continue to proc those anointments. So we'll go ahead and take that. And for once in this build, I'm not taking the Spider Ant Scorcher, because since we're going into the blue tree, I'm actually going to end up taking the Great Horned Skag, because you'll see we're going to get down here. That's really our goal for this tree. So we're going to take 3 points into Persistence Hunter. It's not really the duration that it helps with, isn't really going to do much for our Rakks, because you throw them out and they come back, but it'll get us that 12% gun damage. And then we're going to, just to get down to the next tree, since my mod gives me one in to go for the eyes, I'm going to put 2 into Ferocity. It's pet damage, it's but you need to get down there. So feel free if you'd rather put 2 more in to go for the eyes or split them up. That's up to you guys. We are going to put 1 point into He Bites, because when the pet gets hit, which it is going to, obviously, it can reflect damage, and its reflected damage is going to proc Frenzy, which is going to give us, after we dump 5 points into it, we're going to get 4% damage per stack, and we are pretty much always going to have 10 stacks as long as our pet is alive, which is going to give us another 40% damage total, which is awesome. And that's going to benefit our guns as well as our Rakk. And then I like to go over here and put 4 points into Who Rescued Who, which is going to give us more sustainability for Flak. We'll get the health regeneration, and it'll also help to heal our pet, so we can keep him up to continue to get these frenzy stacks and get into the Barbaric Yacht, which when our pet is up with 5 points in here, we're going to add 200% to our pet bonuses, which, taking the Great Horned Skag, is going to take that damage buff of 5% to 15%, and our gun damage benefit of 10% to 30%. So that's a big buff. That's where we're getting this tree. Obviously, we're getting damage out of the hunter tree, but this tree gives us a nice balance of survivability and damage, which is why I choose to go to it in this build. The only thing I miss about this build is, I'll admit, I am a sucker for fadeaway because it allows me to, in my playstyle, I guess, control the pace and my positioning a little better. This is more of a hectic playstyle, but I must admit it's pretty fun. I then go, sorry about that, getting on that rant, but I go and I put 3 points here into pack tactics, max that out, and that's going to give us even more damage and maximum health for some more sustainability. So with our leftover 2 points, I actually, and this is totally up to you guys, you can go and put a point into mutated defenses, but the way I look at it is my pet, as long as I'm dealing damage, my pet's getting health regen, so his health shouldn't get low enough to proc this, and it has a 15-second cooldown timer, so I don't know how beneficial it is. I prefer to actually, oh, sorry guys, you could put more points into Grim Harvest if you want. You could always go into Hunter's Eye, although I have tested Hunter's Eye lately, and it does not seem to give the exact percentage of bonus to you as the card states, which bothered me a little bit. Like, when it was saying 15%, when I did the math, I was only getting like 11. So, I mean, it does work, but I just find it to be a little broken. I don't know if anyone else has come across that yet, but if you have, shoot a comment down, because something doesn't seem right about this skill. So I actually go over here, and I like a little more sustainability with this because it's such a hectic playstyle. So I actually dropped the last 2 points into self-repairing system, which is just going to get us some of that health regen, so that way if our pet unfortunately were to go down, we're not without any kind of regen at all. So that's the build, guys. I'll show you the gear that I'm running mainly. So obviously the bread and butter of this build is the wedding invitation. I was lucky enough to get the wedding invitation with the 100% action or damage on action skill end, which, since the whole goal of this build is to keep throwing out Rakks, you constantly will have that 100% boost. What's sweet about this gun is it ricochets like all Jacobs do on crits, but it ricochets a cryo bullet. So this thing almost ends up acting like a recursion, which is really sweet. Especially with our anointments, the way this works is, like, when it ricochets, you'll get the original ricochet and a cryo ricochet, and then since we're running elemental action skill and anointments on our grenade and shield, we will actually be proccing 3 bullets off of each ricochet, and then if those crit, they can ricochet. So it causes this crazy chain. I'm sure you saw some of it in the Slaughter Shaft demo in the beginning, and if you guys stick around at the end, I'll show part of the raid and like the back half of it, and you'll see what I mean. Maybe Zach will just put in the Wotan kill to keep the video to a reasonable length, but yeah, this gun it's really fun. It's cool. we went down here, and this is kind of our past and future thing that I got with the Terminator T-800. So we got our carrier, which is your futuristic Atlas gun. This gun's really cool. It procs crits like crazy, and it's good for mobbing and single target, because when you shoot it, it like arcs these bullets that go to the nearest enemy, and if there's no enemy in the proximity, the bullets just come back down and rain in on the enemy you just shot, kind of like the Kings and Queens call do on bosses. I'm not saying this has the damage output of those, but it does shoot much faster, so it really does have its place in this build, and I quite enjoy it. The one I got is, after using the Rakk attack, we get the 50% critical hit damage, so that's pretty nice, especially since we are using Rakk attack. I still actually haven't farmed up any new ion cannons, but I carry one around with me most of the time. Like, I use it for the very last stage of the Wotan fight, just to get rid of him once he splits. That's about all I use this gun for. And then I have the Shredded Scourge that I farmed up, and it has the splash damage on action skill end. What's cool about this gun is when you shoot it, after a certain distance, it'll start having these little rockets that swirl around it, and they'll home in on other enemies. So it's pretty good for like clearing crowds if you have a long enough distance to shoot it. I will be honest, I prefer the lumps. Unfortunately, I have not been lucky enough to obtain the lumps at level 53 since they did the wonderful 3-level increase. Yeah, so for now I'm running the Scourge, but I will say if I do come across the lumps, this will probably get replaced by those, because they're one of my favorite guns, and I think I'm just better at using those than the Scourge, but some of you might like the Scourge better, so there you go. And okay, so I farmed up all of the legendary transformers with the actions, skill, and elemental anointments. So I run those based on whatever content I'm doing, whatever element I want, and like I said, that's gonna help with the wedding invitation, as well as the carrier, to arc additional projectiles after they hit the target and split. And I am running, I haven't farmed up new grenades, which is fine because I don't really use the grenades for damage. Again, I just use them to proc an additional element to help with the splitting projectiles, and you want to make sure that these two elements on your grenade and your shield are different, and you want to make sure they are different than any weapons you may be running. So I wouldn't want to use cryo or incinerary if I was using the wedding invitation, because it is incinerary and it ricochets a cryo bullet. So yeah, that's why we do what we do there. And you guys will see in the Wotan kill that this gun is how nuts this gun is. I take out Wotan with a fire weapon, essentially running a shock and a corrosive augment on the transformer and the its piss. So it is just sick how this gun works. And then we're running a Deadeye for this, which is nice because if an enemy is above 75% health, it's kind of like an amp shot. They take 35% additional damage, and with the power of the wedding invitation, it's one-shotting most mob enemies, and 2-3 shotting some badasses. So I've seen some crazy damage numbers when testing this. Like, it's random because of the overkill from my Guardian rank, and I've seen up to 4 million, 5 million damage off of one shot from this gun. And this is going to give us really what you would want, this is not a god roll by any means. Number one, it's a level 50. Number two, you would actually want a +5 into Two Fang. +4 is the best I have farmed. And obviously my sub rolls aren't the greatest. Like the 18% critical damage is good, but I would really like sniper damage also, or even splash damage is good because its ricochets deal splash damage, and obviously rocket launchers deal splash damage. So that's that. And then for our relic, we run my Old Faithful Last Stand auto idle for some extra survivability and to get that health back on kills. You could run a Last Stand victory rush if you wanted to, but I find I would prefer the survivability over the bonus damage because I feel I'm doing enough damage as it is. And yeah, so that's up to your playstyle. You could also run a what do you call them? Like a snowdrift auto idle if you have one. If you like that slide speed, that's all up to you. I just have a weird playstyle where I'm sure you've noticed on the clips that we put in all my build videos, I like to get up in everything's face, and it's a heavy damage, but I take a lot of damage too. So I like any survivability I can get, which is why if I had it, I would probably be running the new stopgap. I just haven't found any that have the action skill on anointments. If I had this, I would run it instead of either of them. But at level 50, it just seems like the capacity is a little low. But I love this shield, guys. If I can ever get lucky enough to make another character and run it back through the DLC, because you only get one of these per playthrough, I love this shield because with my playstyle, I'm bound to go down. And with this shield, I don't have to worry about it because I am getting it's doubling my fight for your lifetime, and while I'm in fight for your life, I'm getting bonus damage and accuracy and handling. It's amazing. I love the double downer. But so yeah, I suggest either the double downer, the transformer, or the stopgap for this build. But yeah, so right now I am going to, I should say Zach is going to put some gameplay on the screen while I wrap this up, and you guys, I hope you enjoy the build. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, drop them down in the comments for us. We appreciate all your guys' support, and I hope that somebody gets some enjoyment and or tries this build out, and tell me what you think if you do. I've had a lot of success with it. It's very fun build to use. If you guys keep supporting this, I'll keep coming out with them, and Zach will keep letting me put them on his channel, and everybody's happy. So I hope you guys all have a good day and have fun, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, old man fam. Philbilly out.
Distract them! Sky's Fury! Ah, you found a chest. My boy is down! Eat the tendons first. It's good for your feet. Takedown for thee.
Brilliant work, Vault Hunter! That ass kicking will make Malawan think twice before they come at us again.
Ammo's out. Swoop and tear!